All right, in this video, I'm gonna go through I'm gonna do one vertical line and one horizontal line so you can just kind of see what those look like. So my vertical line that I'm gonna do is my line 1, okay? Now here's the thing. Vertical lines always have an equation that looks like x equals a number, right? Always, because no matter where the vertical line is, like let's say it's right here, it's always like this would be x equals -11, right? Here's -11. Every point on this line, right here, the x value is -11, here the x value is -11, here the x value is -11. The y value is changing, but it's always x equals a number, and vertical lines always have a slope of undefined. Always, okay? So let's look at my line 1. Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab the two endpoints. So the endpoints of my line 1 are here and here, right? So this point right here is -7, -4, and notice I make sure to grab the x coordinate first. So this is -7, -4. And the other endpoint is right here, and that's -7, -6. Okay, and that's really all I need off the graph, because now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna calculate the slope using my 2 points. Now remember, right, I'm gonna use the slope formula, so it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and it looks like this. So y2, -6, minus y1, -4, over x2, -7, minus, right, minus x1, -7. Okay, so let's do the math here. This becomes a plus sign, so does this, right? That double, those two negatives next to it become plus. So this is -6 plus 4, which is -2. Okay, and this is -7 plus 7. That's 0, right? This is 7 negatives. This is 7 holes in my boat, 7 patches. I'm left with nothing. Okay, now I notice here I have a 0 on the bottom of this fraction. We know that's not allowed in math. We are not allowed to divide by 0. So my slope is undefined. Okay, so I'm going to write my slope is undefined. Now here's the thing. This was a vertical line, so I already knew my slope was going to be undefined. So you need to show work, right? That's part of the requirement. But you should just like, yes, you're checking this box. Yep, it's undefined. It was dividing by 0, not allowed. Okay, now it says for this line, the equation is, okay, now here's the thing. You can look at the graph again, but you don't need to, because there's enough information here. I know that a vertical line, it's going to have an equation of x equals a number. And I look at my 2 points, and what does x equal? Look, x equals -7. That's what it equals, right? And if I were to extend this line and make it longer, x would equal -7 at every point along this line, right? This would be -7, 0, -7, 4, -7, -10, right? Like all of those lines have an x value of -7. So my domain, my x values, are just x equals -7, right? It's just going to look like this. Why? Because that's the only x value. It's a line right at that x value, and it's not changing. Okay, now the range. Okay, now remember the range is, this is the bottom value, okay, and then the top value right here. Now, I can look at it and I can see, okay, my bottom is right here, and notice this is my range, so I'm looking at y values, so I'm looking over here. So my range is from -6 up to 4. So it's going to look like this, -6 up to -4. Okay, now again, I could have also looked here, and I could have seen, oh, my endpoints are -6 and -4. Well, which one's smaller? Well, -6 is smaller, right? With negative numbers, it's the like a larger number is the smaller number. So this is all set. Now, if I were to put this in Desmos, what it would look like is it would say, I would type like this, x equals -7, and then I would type the range, right? And this is the only kind of line where you're going to have to type the range, because if you just type the domain, it's not going to cut the line. So this is what I'm going to type in Desmos. Okay, let's take a look at the horizontal lines. So horizontal lines, they always have an equation that looks like y equals a number. Always, always. And they always have a slope of 0. Always. Okay, so let me take a look at my horizontal line, line number 3. And my 2 endpoints are here and here. Okay, so my one endpoint is -9, -4. And my other endpoint is -7, -4. And notice, right, you can see on the graph that these two lines actually share an endpoint, and it's that -7, -4 point, which is fine. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and calculate the slope. I'm going to use the same slope formula. So it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Again, I end up having negatives here, so this becomes a plus, this becomes a plus. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0, and negative 7 plus 9 is 2. Okay, now notice this is 0 divided by 2. 0 divided by 2, that's 0. I have 0 cookies, I'm sharing it with 2 people. So my slope is 0. I knew it was going to be 0 because it was a horizontal line, so I'm just going to, yep, it sure is. And for this line, I know it's going to be y equals. And what is it that y equals? Now, I could look at the graph, but I can also just look, oh, what are my y values? Oh, it's negative 4. Okay, so this is the equation of my line. And my domain, now remember I want to cut the line, so I'm going to say, I want to cut it from left to right, right? So like, here's my line. Now the line y equals negative 4 is this long, long, long line that goes on forever, but I want to cut it here and here. So I'm going to cut it at negative 9 and negative 7. I can see that on the graph. I can also see it right here, but I'm going to cut it at negative 9 on the left and negative 7 on the right. And what's my range? What are all my y values? Well, my y value doesn't change, right? My y value along that line is just going to always be negative 4. Okay, so when I go to put this into Desmos, what I'll type is I'll type y equals negative 4, and then I'll type those little squiggly brackets. I'll type negative 9 is less than x is less than negative 7. And when I type that, right, when I first type this, it's going to give me that long horizontal line, and then this is going to cut the line.